I must appreciate you for still being there, listening to Rock City 101.9 FM in the city of Abeokuta. Yes, it's the Daybreak Show. Citizens Forum this morning will be talking politics. Yes, politics, but from a different background. This time, it's sports and politics. Yes, sports and politics. Apart from the one you want to refer to as local politics, the different associations will be having their elections very soon. Um, Being a member of that election enables you into the decision making of so many sporting activities in the country. And of course, it's also an opportunity to have your eyes set on the global body because as a member of the local association, you are also representing your association in the international body. You will know that sports nowadays is money spinning, like I would say, a lot of money involved for those who are active in it, and of course, in Nigeria, in particular, administrators. Yes, it's some people will say it's a pipeline to also making money. At the global scene, what is regarded as the king of sports, football, African football will have its election next week in about 10 days or less than that. There will be election to become the most powerful sport administrator in Africa, the CAF presidency that has been occupied by one man who was, well, should I say brought up? I will be correct. Bred, yes, that should be partially correct. In Nigeria, I remember that very well, I guess, when the man who has the privilege to be the longest serving Secretary General of the Nigerian Football Association at that time, the late part of Pomo, was tutoring Issa Hayatou. He was then at the head of the Cameroon Football Association. So he's had his success, really, you must give it to him. And of course, today he's also the longest man to have served in African confusion. I remember the name of the man. So that one also had a very long, the Ethiopian had a very long time as head of CAF. African football has come of age. If you look at the successes made by individual players all over the world, and of course, from those days when we had just one slot in the World Cup to today, when there are 5 slots to grab, and hopefully in the next 2 competitions, that should also increase. Money in sports. That is why the election into such positions is also being keenly contested. Dele Ayodo is my name.
And I am Chienye Egwuonwu. Good morning. And today on the Citizens Forum, we are looking at sports and politics. Basically, the CAF elections. And quickly, let's take a peek back to the presidents of CAF. We have number 1 on the list. We have Abdelaziz Abdallah Salim. He took office in 1957 and he left office in 1958. And Abdallah is from Egypt. And then we have Abdelaziz Mustafa from 1958 to 1968. He spent 10 years. He is also from Egypt. And then we move over to Abdel Halim Muhammad from 1968 to 1972, just 4 years. And he is from Sudan. Then we also have the Ethiopian guy, Yidnekachu Tesima from 1972 to 1987, and that's 15 years. Then we also went back to Abdel Halim Muhammad from 1987 to 1988, except for 1 year. He acted for just a year. Then number 5 on the list is Issa Hayatou from 1988 to 2015 from Cameroon. He spent 27 years. And then acting, we have Suketu Patel from 2015 to 2016 from Seychelles, and he spent only a year. And then at present, we have Issa Hayatou, making a total of 28 years for Issa Hayatou from 1988 till date. And then the politics in sports.
28 years in one administration. Well, again, you must give it to Issa Hayatou. Issa had his good moments for Africa. But since they will say the throne cannot be for just one person, I remember another African who had an astounding career at the head of CAF is the Ethiopia you mentioned, Tesima. At the point in time, is it the CAF, not the league one, the other one was referred to and called the Tesima Cup. I have with us another sport writer, sport administrator, who's also been in his own way involved in sports and politics. Biodun Alabi, you are welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks
Good morning
so much.
and welcome.
Good morning.
Biodun, why should Nigeria be bothered about who wins or who rules CAF?
Oh, Nigeria is one of the biggest footballing nations in the continent of Africa. Indeed, in the world, we are one of the biggest. If you check the history of CAF, check the history of CAF tournaments over the years, and of course, the history of FIFA tournaments, Nigeria has had a fair share of opportunities. Nigeria has had a fair share of glory. If you look at the first, if you want to properly pick it up from um, the laurels Nigeria has won in football. Nigeria is the first country to win a World Cup trophy in the world under 16 tournament in China in 1985. For some reasons, in fact, arguably so, we are a giant of football in Africa. I think countries that can actually, you know, be in the same category with us, probably Cameroon, Ghana, Egypt, not even all of the North African countries. So Nigeria has a right to, we have a bragging right to say, yeah, we are a big factor when it comes to African football policies, in fact, African football sports. If you also check the personalities in CAF football, in CAF corridors, CAF politics, there's no way you won't. You mentioned the Ayodo. We should also mention Orokoyo.
Yeah.
We should also mention Adamu, Onibide, so many of them. We have a good number of them too in contemporary terms. Michel Obi is there, Aisha Falode, and the rest of them, Paul Bassi, and all of that. So Nigeria is a big factor when it comes to CAF politics. We're a leading country in football, and so I think it's just right for us to play a big role.
Okay, looking at sports and politics now, any correlation, any relationship between sports and politics? Tell us about this.
Sports and politics, they are Siamese twins. There is no way anybody can divorce one from the other. If you look at the conventional politics itself, it's something that is also closely tied to football and sports. I don't think any average person will remember Brazil or want to note Brazil for any other thing apart from football. If you talk about Brazil, you say football. You may not want to really go into other areas of their life. Argentina, I mean, these are countries that are great in football. So politics and sports, politics and football are inseparable twins. They are just because the truth is that if you look at the growth of football and sports over the years, sports have actually gone beyond recreation. Sports has become a money spinning enterprise, and so when we now have involvement of more and more people, professionals, technocrats, we have former sportsmen coming into sports administration and sports management, and then you also have people who never had any background in sports coming into sports. It's because of the amazing money that is involved in sport. For goodness sake, I like to go back. I keep using this example. Every week, Kelechi Iheanacho earns £85,000. That's a lot of money. That's just one single player. This was a guy who was playing academy football about 4 or 5 years ago in Lagos. He never knew he would have a meteoric rise to global football. Those guys he was watching on television, he now plays with them, on the same pitch. Aguero, Hayatou, and the rest of them. So the money involved in sports, and of course the management of the money, I think is what is attracting, what has attracted a whole lot of interest. And of course, certainly where you have money, where you have resources, and where you have where you want jostle over allocation of resources and all of that, there's bound to be politics, and that's why we have huge politics in sports and football.
Then should money now be the bane to go into sports?
Should what?
Should money now be the main reason to go into sports?
Well, partly, yeah. Money as a professional, why are you in your trade? You are in the trade because you want to put money on the table of your for your family. So Money basically is a factor. I mean, professional footballers, you can't. The years of the past when people were playing football for the fun, for passion, has gone into the dustbin. People are now going to football. In fact, we have so many Nigerians who don't even have the native talents of football, who now want to go into football because of what they see, the kind of money that they see their colleagues make in football. We can begin to mention names of Nigerian players who have made stupendous money in football. Celestine Mabayaro, Kanu Nwankwo, JJ Okocha, even the late Rashidi Yekini. These are people who, after their career, have estates, and they've also helped the society. Private jets in so many ways. Amakaji had a private jet. So Kanu Nwankwo, for instance, has a Heart Foundation which has helped so many Nigerians. So money is a factor. I am here, you are here this morning because of money, whether you like it or not. It's your passion first and foremost, but of course you need to also take money home at the end of the month.
That's where I'm driving my point.
Yeah.
It should be the passion. Yeah, money comes, fine, but the passion should also drive people to go into sports.
Yeah, passion, certainly. But again, you see, the fact is that it depends on the values any society actually places on sports. So many countries of the world, particularly in Africa, don't understand the value of sports. We just see sports on the surface of it. We don't know the deep things about sports. For instance, I used to give an example from here, where this office is situated, between Ashero and Oshiele. We have a very huge population of residents of Ogun State. But I tell you, there is no sports facility, there's no recreation center between here and Oshiele. You can imagine, maybe there is another Serena Williams somewhere in Obantoko who has a passion, who wants to actually play tennis, but where's the facility? Where's the tennis court? She has to go all the way to Ibarra to go play tennis. Look at the distance. So sometimes you begin to wonder the quality of people that we have in governance. They don't understand the value of sports. And if a society, if it starts from for instance, if you are using a state as an example, if the governor of a state does not understand the value of sports, there's no way. If you have a passionate commissioner, the commissioner will not function, because it is the governor who approves. The commissioner takes his budget to the governor. The governor, if the governor does not see any reason, for such a huge sum of money, there's no way it will make the commissioner work.
Okay, so let's take a peek now into the CAF elections. What is this rancor about? And then what is this rancor in NFF2?
The CAF election, I don't think there's any rancor. If there's any rancor, I think it's a positive one for African football. Just like I said, in the intro, Hayatou has done marvelously for African football. You can't take it away from him. He's taking African football. I think Africa used to have 2 representatives at the World Cup to 3. Later we got 5.
We actually started from 1.
From 1, yeah. And he's taking us to 5 on the continent of Africa. 5 representatives, at the World Cup. Beyond that too, Africa has hosted a fair number of international tournaments. Under 17, Nigeria hosted under 20. We've seen a whole lot of competitions in Africa, and then again too, the game has developed. The dynamics of the game have also developed on the continent. We have CAF Champions League. It used to be Champion of Champions. Now it has attracted money. We call it lucrative CAF Champions League. It used to be one company. Now another company has taken over the tournament. I think previously $1.5 million is the prize, but now it has gone to $4 million. That's massive. So Hayatou has done very well for football in Africa, whether we like it or not.
So you won't beat your chest that Issa Hayatou has done very well. He has performed very well.
He's done very well. He's done very well in Africa. He's done very well. I mean, if I have to be also sentimental, he's also brought a whole lot of Nigerians into CAF. Amos Adamu at the time was a member of the executive committee of FIFA. He couldn't have gotten there, on his own. He went there he got there on the back of his romance with Hayatou. So Hayatou has done massively well. But again, there must be a point that some guys will come up and say, yeah, they want to revolutionize the system, and that's what the gang of Ahmad is leading now. And I think even if Hayatou, wins next week's election, I'm sure he will go back into his inner recesses and then, of course, and say, yeah, this is a very close shave. Because I don't think nobody has ever given Hayatou this kind of thing.
Yeah, this is actually the first time.
First time he's having this kind of.
He's almost becoming a lord in African football. People are afraid, in quote now, to challenge whatever position he holds in CAF. Now, if you look at this, the background of Hayatou, his strength in FIFA, which is the international body, and then you look at recent events, the sweep that happened in CAF. In fact, we all know that Infantino was almost a surprise winner. People who were thought have the pedigree and the knacks to win it, including Europeans, Michel Platini, all of them were swept aside. The Caribbeans, those who have strong ties in the then FIFA, led by the Step Blatter, which Issa we thought was not a strong member. How did he survive that tsunami?
We usually refer to Hayatou as the proverbial cat with the 9 lives. You know, he survived. There's so many. In fact, there had been tsunamis before the last one, and I think it only speaks to the strength and the depth of should I also say to the myth of an Hayatou who has been, in African running the African game since 1988. I think it's just about the fact that he's also lent the rope over a long period of time. He has done it in such a way that he was not actually caught in any of the scandals. He was vice president to Hayatou. And one would have thought that while vice president was Blatter, while we thought that he would also be consumed by the tsunami, we found out that Hayatou, came out clean. How he did that, I really don't know. But I think that is just that could just be on the surface of it. That could just be due to his administrative savvy. Don't also forget that he's been there for quite a long time, and he's also had experience. Over time, he must have learned about how FIFA was run under Avalanche. Yeah, Avalanche, who gave the beating to Blatter. So I think, yeah, he understands the system very well, and I think that must have actually been responsible for how he was able to maneuver his way out of the scandal. And today we're still talking about him. Don't forget that he was also, he said that he was going to quit office, for the before this particular election, the last time, until they changed the process of the election, and then he came out again and said he's contesting for the 8th time in office. So. Yeah, I mean, that's why you must give it to him. He's a juggernaut. He's a big personality, an icon of African football. If you call him a fox, you won't be wrong.
Now, let's look at what the Nigerian factor could be. You just mentioned Amos Adamu, and I also thought, which you also know, the tutorials. Issa Hayatou's history in football cannot be written. He cannot write it without mentioning Nigeria's factor in his life. We had Amos Adamu, who was, before 2010, when he had that football accident now, that eventually paralyzed him, yes. And he could not come back to football. I'm not talking of physical accident for those who know. Those who are into sport will understand what I mean. And then today, he's still not able to come back to football. So we are taught Amos Adamu was our own Issa Hayatou, strong in the politics of football, not just in Africa, but the world. And by today, 2017, one would have thought Amos Adamu would be the one either challenging Issa Hayatou or playing a major role in FIFA, but that is not. What are we doing to have a replacement for Amos Adamu? Are we doing anything now that the politics is here again?
I do not think we are doing anything to replace Amos Adamu. Though I totally also don't want to believe that the times of Adamu have actually gone, effectively in African football. He's also been banned for 2 years recently. But I think I have to go back to this point. Nigeria is a very complex environment, and I think the complexities of our environment were responsible for partly the downfall of Adamu. In this climb, we don't appreciate our own. We don't appreciate ourselves. I'm sure in other climes, Adamu will have been celebrated to high heavens. But why is Adamu in this situation? I think it's just a function of the complexities of our environment. When we have a candidate who is growing, who is moving up, all we think about is how to bring him down. we always say, is he the only one? Should it be about him alone and all of that? But we've forgotten the fact that if you have, our own, on top of, at the echelon of CAF, it's also very possible that we have, some snippets, coming down, crumbs coming down, some other figures, in our football family. So I think it is due to our complex nature. That's why Adamu is. Don't forget that. We've had, a good number of people to don't look at the issue of Sheikh Odebami, who also wanted to be FIFA president. Some people say, who is Odebami? I know the role. I mean, I don't know if I can actually say this here. When Odebami I was actually close to him when he was nursing the ambition of becoming FIFA president. And it got to a point that some people went to CAF and they stood and they said, no, it can't be Odebami. In fact, they didn't want to even give him the ticket from Nigeria,
yes.
And it took the intervention of the current government of the state, Senator Bukola Amosun, who, has Odebami as a boyhood hero. He's always said it that he was always, walking, jogging to the National Stadium in Lagos to watch Odebami play. He took it upon himself. He took it to the presidency, and Odebami, crossed the first hurdle until he couldn't just go beyond it. So I mean, he placed the two of them side by side. Odebami played the game from the 70s. He won the Nations Cup in 1980. It's Odebami in terms of football. It's Odebami not a bigger figure than Hayatou. But why is it that Odebami has not even won the NFF election? On the local scale, let alone the CAF fair play. So I think it's our complexities, and the earlier we came back home and understand the fact that we need to also develop our own, support our own, the better for us. For me, if you look at the firmament of football administration in Nigeria, I do not see anybody. But I think the only person that I see who is striving, and I think his own way is a bit scientific, and that is Ahmad. But I have a feeling that he will not also suffer some kind of accident, just like you said, or fracture along the line, because what he's doing is tantamount to revolution. He's behind Ahmad, and I think what he's trying to tell us is that it does not matter if he wins his own election against Masharafu, another strong figure in West African football. So I think all he's saying,
African football, from West Africa,
from Benin Republic. What Pinnick is telling us is that it does not matter. We want Hayatou out. And if Hayatou is not, if we don't take him out now, it does not matter if I lose my own position too. I could easily come back to my position as NFF president. So I think, Pinnick, he may have also offended some factors, or he may have stepped on some toes here in Nigeria. But I think here is a young man who is growing, and I think all we need to do is to support him, get behind him, let him also grow along that line, and then possibly maybe tomorrow he gets into, maybe next week we'll be lucky to be a member of CAF executive committee, and from there he could just be a CAF president. I think it's ebullient, it's brilliant enough. We have a whole lot of people in CAF. We have Dominic Onea, the former NFF president. We have Galadima, Michel, just like we said, Michel Alabi is there, but I don't know. I think they are still, written under the heavy weight of Hayatou. And we have a young man. I think it's just a case of David versus Goliath. If David, metaphorically now, Pinnick, Goliath, Hayatou. So I think if we have somebody who has that rash confidence, of trying to upset the established order, then why not? Let's get behind him and let's see what he could do.
Okay, but to you, who are you looking forward to winning this election come next week?
Look, absolutely, I don't have any interest in anybody. My interest is African football should grow beyond this level. I think the only minus for Hayatou in his 28 years in office is that he's not actually taking female football to the next level. Africa keeps struggling. Nigeria has never gone beyond, I think, the quarter-final stage of any World Cup tournament, whether under 17 or under 20. And Nigeria is the biggest female football country in Africa. And why is this this way? Because there's no tournament for the ladies in Africa. Just like we have CAF Champions League for the men, we don't have female. We don't have a version for the female players. So our players are just developing on a free range basis. We have a few clubs in Nigeria, River Angels, Pelican Stars. Where are they? I think about 4 of them. We're not even looking at them. What is happening to the female league? So I think if you have a tournament, which is like a rallying point for African teams in Africa, there's no way that each country will not want to develop its own female football, because there's some money to win at the CAF level. But we don't have that. All we have is under 20 African Championship, under 17.
These are the main competition.
These are main competition. But we need to also develop the club sides. If the club sides are developed, I'm sure someone like an Issa Oshoala will not have actually opted to go to Europe. Maybe not so early. We have a few of them who are in Europe.
Okay, another maybe not so early. Or else we'll be saying Kelechi should do that. Now, let me also find out from you. Do you think the David of Ahmad can actually upset the Goliath of Issa Hayatou?
Well, that is I think that is still down to conjecture. I don't know. I really don't. I have a freaky feeling that just like my friend said before we came in, that it's going to be a close one. Hayatou is likely to win the election. I think he's likely to win the election, maybe 1 or 2 votes. I have that feeling. And if he doesn't win the election, I think it's going to be a landslide for Ahmad. You know, sometimes you have a revolutionary change in the corridors of power, whether in football or in politics, and whenever they want to come, they come, you know, in a very humongous manner. So I think if Ahmad will win this election, it's going to be a landslide for him. But I think if Hayatou is going to win, it's going to be quite close. I really don't, because we don't know the minds of those that are going to vote. Sometimes they come out and say, yeah, we are behind Hayatou or we are behind Ahmad, but when they go to the ballot box, they do something different. So it is pretty difficult. But bottom line for me is that I need to see somebody who will take African football to the next level. But for me, I mean, sentimentally, I think the time of Hayatou is done. I think he should just quit at this moment. I don't know why he wants to go for another time. He's done so well for African football. He should just, you know, quit the scene in a blaze of glory. He's not from Nigeria. He's not here. Yet we are praising him from here. We know what he has done for African football. Let's look at some fresh blood. You know, maybe they can take African football to the next level. Africa, fine at the World Cup level. I think the best anybody could achieve. I think Ghana, Cameroon, getting close to quarterfinals, semi-finals. Nigeria, the best we've achieved is a second round. But I think we have the potentials of winning the World Cup. Somebody has that dream. And he keeps talking about the dream, and that's what I was always said that Nigeria can win the World Cup.
But instead of playing the politics we are talking about, but that appears to be where he has problems. He just believes in technicality and then professionalism. Quite honestly, I remember when Chegodebang was trying to convince Nigerians when he was asking us to bid for the World Cup. That was the first time I really understand what it really means. Hosting the World Cup is not just getting the advantages. There is like a lifetime thing. A brilliant person, but people will say he's not carved out for the politics.
He's not. I'm quite close to Chief Odegba. I go to meet him almost every Friday. We sit down together. I learn from him and all of that. I think he's just a true decent man for the politics of football, even locally. When he was even chairman of Gateway United FC, there were issues,
Okay, we have a few seconds to run. Looking at sports back then and now, will you say they're the same thing? Or it's matching up to it? Or it's not up to standard?
Sports then and now?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, massive improvement we've seen in sports, not just in football. We've seen sports is a form of social change, and it has actually taken societies to the next level. So sports in the past can be compared to sports now. There is a massive change. So many things. Facilities have changed, orientations have changed, thinking have changed, and all of that. So there's a whole lot of difference between the way sports was run in those years compared to now.
Okay, we'll still talk about the value of sports that you mentioned. We'll still talk about it, but after this break.
Yes, we have some guys from Diamond who will be talking to us. That will take us through the 10 o'clock news. After that, we'll still have Biodun Alabi with us. Yes, you will then have the opportunity to also participate in the program. Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM. Don't go anywhere. Oh, yes, we are back. Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM. Citizens Forum this morning. We are looking at politics of sports, or sports and politics with regard to the next week CAF election. That's the Confederation of African Football, the continental governing body of football, one regarded as king of sports. Well, a little bit of controversy. Not crisis, really, cannot be described as crisis, but controversy when the NFF president, that's Nigeria's Football Federation's president, Ahmad, decided to openly tell others that he will not be voting for Issa Hayatou. And we have with us a sports writer, administrator, journalist, Biodun Alabi. In a couple of minutes, we will open the telephone lines and get your own thinking, your own comments and questions for Biodun. But before then, Biodun, quickly, can you take us through the process of the election?
Well, the CAF member nations obviously will have a representative. Their presidents, I think 54 now. 54 now. Will vote. And,
one vote
per federation. But certainly, because of the involvement of and because of the strength of the involvement of Ahmad, that certainly has been polarized now. There was a meeting in Zimbabwe organized by a birthday party for the president of Zimbabwe Football Federation, and that also
turned into a political
political meeting. Infantino came. There was our own picnic there. Ahmad was there.
And Hayatou was annoyed that he was not formally brought into
exactly. So that tells you that the votes have been polarized. So I think it's a very simple, straightforward system. They just go in, vote, drop their vote, and it's a simple majority system, and whoever wins is the next.
Are we likely to see the usual Anglo-Franco division?
Well, that's also
because Cameroon is Hayatou.
Yeah, that has been it's been like that for years. Anglophone, Francophone dichotomy, it's been like that for years. But I doubt we're likely to see that this time around. I think this wind of revolution is blowing across all the federations, and I think a whole lot of federation presidents have decided to actually throw that into the dustbin. This because for me it doesn't really make any sense. Whether you are from the French-speaking part of Africa or you are from English-speaking, all of us are speaking the same language, which is football. And I think what all of us want to progress is football, is the game in Africa. So it doesn't really matter to them anymore. So I think it's going to be, just like I said before we took the break. I have a feeling that if Hayatou will win this, it's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close call. And if Ahmad will win, it could be a landslide victory. I think some of them are just tired of Hayatou, not because he hasn't done very well. He's done very well, but I think they just want a new blood, at the helms of affairs.
All right. Okay. Yes. Let's permit you to be a part of this, and we open the 3 channels of getting involved. For you to be to ask your questions and comments for Biodun Alabi.
0809-868-7344 or 0909-146-9670 are the numbers to call, and also the Twitter platform at RockCityFM and the short code dial 32120. Just type rock, you leave a space, type your message, include your name, and then you send it to 32120.
All right, 32120. We await your calls, SMS, and of course our Twitter handle are also working.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Allah me the juice, my name.
Yeah, go on. We can hear you. Go on.
Okay. The topic this morning is interesting. In my own view, I think Hayatou has stayed too long in that place. So we need a fresh individual there now, fresh idea, fresh contribution to CAF and to football generally. But the question I want to ask Ayodo is this: do you think Hayatou has been fair to Nigeria enough? Based on certain reasons, I want to let me just speak you on just 2. In Maroc 88, you remember Nigeria played against Cameroon, and we scored a fair goal, and it was cancelled. So we knew the referee was actually acting a script. And look at J.J. Okocha, when it was very glaring to everybody across the world that J.J. Okocha should be the African Player of the Year as at that time, it was turned around and another person won. So what do you think? Do you think Issa Hayatou has been fair to Nigeria enough? Thank you. Good morning.
All right, Biodun is taking note. Let's add another call. A lot of Nigerians believe.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Dele.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just continue.
My name is Gafar Olusegun Ismaila. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Gafar.
Actually, I'm not a football fan, but this is football politics, so I have very keen interest in it. Sincerely, Biodun, you've done very well. Bravo. But my question goes thus, Biodun. Don't you think it's the African nature that is playing in this CAF election? Because we believe that most African leaders are not ready and they don't like living where the innovation was very loudest. Don't you think Hayatou is trying to turn to be another Mugabe of CAF? That's my first question. Second question. We are saying that leaders can be made. What is the Nigerian what's the NFF doing? No one's trying to actually groom young bloods. People like you and people I want to get by me, I don't have interest in foreign politics.
Hello?
This care is not taking. Nigeria is a very big fan. But look at the population, look at the Nigerians, and the supporters we are having from the football bench at the stakeholder. So what are you?
All right, Gafar, thank you. That line is breaking. We're taking note of your question. Two questions, really. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you.
My name is Kevin from Kajola.
Can you switch off that radio?
Hello?
Please switch off the radio. There's a radio too close to where you are. You have 2 minutes.
Hello?
Okay, go
My
on.
name is Kevin from Kajola. Now, the question is this. Issa Hayatou has overstayed his welcome. And he wants to perpetuate himself in the football world in Africa. Let us try somebody else. Look, the time Sepp Blatter was on, he was on for a very long time. He's not Issa Hayatou is not a manager of a club, like where you have to spend 25 years, like the Man U manager, you know, the former Man U manager. So let somebody else come in. It's time for election. Let's have fresh blood. He has been.
Well, unfortunately, Issa Hayatou has not breached any rule.
No, he has not breached any rule. But he has been there from time memorial. He has been there when Alex Chienye was a sports minister in Nigeria. He was there when Wokoto was the sports minister. Even when Emeka Egwuonwu was there, he was there. No, what is he doing? Let him get out of the place and let's talk.
All right, thank you.
It's not the best brain we have in Africa.
Thank you. Your 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's add this one. We'll move into the messages and then come to Biodun Alabi. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Ahmad.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Well, I think this has played his own role, and then we should give him another person to come in and push Africa forward and move Africa forward. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Do we have messages there? Let's add the messages to the ones we have.
Okay, we have some tweets here. We have this from Gab Kunle. Biodun, welcome to the studio. What can be done to the non-sports individuals who desire to have a position in the sport ministry or circle? Then we have Mayor of God. Good morning, Mr.
So
Ayodo.
that person is talking about the association's elections.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Mr. Biodun Alabi, you are mostly welcome. May I ask that do you think election rigging will, and that's where he ended the tweet, Now we have Adejumo Akim. It's very obvious that African football needs revolutionary measures. Dare Africa, let another man with fresh ideas come in. Yemi Da Vinci. Many Nigerians don't like Issa Hayatou because of the referee decision in Nations Cup 2000 final and JJ Okocha not winning the Poti. Okay, still Yemi Da Vinci. I'll support Hayatou barely because he has much needed in international clouds as former FIFA head, but there must be reforms. Then Adejumo Akim, fresh approach needed in CAF. That's what we hope for. Hayatou can't be there till eternity. Then Mayor of God, okay, continuation of his message. Okay, do you think politics will not play? I mean, won't there be favoritism in the election? And two, can't we also have Nigerian as the CAF president? The Yemi Da Vinci again, reforms needed in CAF includes all. Biodun has said, plus playing the CAF Champions League final in one leg at a neutral stadium. Okay, Biodun, over to you. React to all the
Okay,
issues.
okay. Kunle Omidiji spoke about Hayatou being unfair to Nigeria. He specifically mentioned Maroc 88. I think Kunle has to take it back to 1984. Cameroon defeated Nigeria at the Nations Cup final.
For almost every Nations Cup final, won by Cameroon. They are just face of Nigeria.
3-1 it ended 1984. 88, yes, we lost. Henry Wosu scored a beautiful goal, disallowed by the referee. Again, he could also forgot to mention the year 2000 when we also lost to them in the final at the National Stadium in Lagos, which a penalty kick, which actually crossed the line, and the referee said it didn't cross the line. Now, Kune, I don't think it is down to Hayatou. It's not down to Hayatou. Hayatou is just CAF president, and so anytime Hayatou sits, I don't think we don't really have any evidence to say that he's influenced referee's decision against Nigeria. But again, Hayatou was also CAF president when Nigeria beat Cameroon in 2004 in Tunisia, quarterfinals, 2-1. I think Kule should also remember that. So if it's been unfair to Nigeria in terms of manipulation of,
and the number of times Nigeria has been a female team has beaten
Cameroon, we also beat them the last one
all the time
in front of Hayatou. So I think
in Cameroon,
and I think it's beyond Hayatou. I don't think Hayatou has been unfair to Nigeria. In fact, it's been very, very fair to Nigeria. Nigeria has hosted a few global tournaments and of course African tournaments. So I think that closes that. And I thought, of course, for the JJ Okocha issue, I really don't think so. I think when Okocha was close to winning it, I think that was when El Hadji, of Morocco won it. So I do not think that is also down to Hayatou. Other people also voted. For Gafar Olusegun, who said the sit-tight syndrome of African leaders, maybe not. Then again, you can't also blame Hayatou here because there's no constitutional restriction for him. He has not breached any, just like Dele said, he's not breached any constitutional provision. So I think that's out of his own space. Nigerian status too. Yeah, why not? Nigeria is a big country in football, in sports generally. So Nigeria has a rightful place, to take when it comes to African football politics. But again, do we play the politics, in the right way and with the right process? If we don't, then we'll find ourselves in this kind of mess. For Shogun from Kajola, he said, let's have fresh blood. Yeah, we always say let's have fresh blood, but the fresh blood people, you and I, have to come out. And that's I think the Ahmad from Madagascar is not a young man too, but again he has fresh blood.
He's a younger man.
Younger to have. So I think if the young people really want to take mantle of leadership, they should come out. They should face the old elements. That's just the simple way to answer that question. Mr. Honorable Allen Taylor, yes, of course, he also said that a new man should come in. Why not? But just like what I just said earlier on, those who are aspiring to, not even in CAF, in local football too, here in Ogun State, We have football association. So many people are also saying that the chairman of the association should go and all of that. But the point is that challenge him. If you want to challenge him, then let's see how far your challenge can take you. We can't just sit down in the corners of our room and say he has to go. No, come out, challenge him. If you have better ideas on how to run the game, then people will vote for you. Yeah, for non-sports individuals, how they can find their way into the ministry or sporting associations, I think that's purely policies of government. And I think any government who appoints people to associations based on political affiliations or just to settle them politically, in quote, I think that government is doomed. If you really want to move to the next level in terms of sports administration at the association level, you better put people who have knowledge of the game. It does not matter who are ready to serve. It does not matter whether they went to school to study sports administration or all the rest. If they have the passion, they have a background, they have a pedigree, and they are ready to serve, why not put them here? Election rigging, well, I don't know about that. Election rigging in CAF, I really don't know. I think I don't know what is how rigging is done. So I think that's out of my core. Yes, a Nigerian can be CAF president. Why not? We're big enough. Cameroon is a big footballing nation in Africa, so I think they've also had their fair share. Hayatou has been there since 1988. Why not? Why shouldn't we have a Nigerian? Some people are saying Madagascar. Where is Madagascar on African football map? But the fact is that this is a man who has come out boldly to challenge Hayatou. Where are the other Nigerians? Where is Onigbide? Where is Amos Adamu? Where is Pichalobi? If they can't face Hayatou and we have somebody from Madagascar.
What's this one commissioner in Kano State?
Galadima, Ojoba, all of them are there on area. These are strong people. If they can't face
Adoke,
Amesebaka, so if they don't have the courage, to come out and say you are facing Hayatou, then people from other countries like Madagascar, even from Liberia, could come out, even from Eritrea, as small as those countries. It does not matter where they come from, for goodness sake. This is a man who has been president of Madagascar Football Federation, and I think he also has some clout too back in the country. He's a senator in that country, so he's got the clout. So, but let's see what happens next week.
Yeah, correct. People like what's this former NFF secretary now, a member of the House of Reps, Toro.
Sonny
Toro. These are people who have the grasp of politics in sports. What are they doing? So don't sit down and say somebody's dancing somewhere.
Exactly.
We'll go back to the telephone calls. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes,
sir.
morning. Good morning, sir.
Rock City, I greet all of you.
Thank you.
Alabi, my first question. Why is it that there is always some assaulting order from the NFF? When Mr. Tinubu was going for this FIFA committee executive nomination, and the minister challenged his nomination then. Then how come he has now turned around to now support him? That is one of the questions. Number two questions, our local management committee, it has been adjudged as one of the best right now. But why is it? This thing continues to baffle me, Alabi. In international football, most of our referees are not there, either in the World Cup matches or in FIFA or in CAF organized matches. So what could be responsible for this? As big as Nigerian football is, none of our referees is actually participating in conducting affairs in either FIFA matches or CAF matches. So those are the two questions that I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He's noting that. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, morning.
Good morning, Biodun. Dele. My name is Dr. Uncle. I'm calling from Ashero Estate. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, doctor.
I get worried when people say, oh, let's give room to another person. We are doing them too long. Are we really interested in functionality? Or we are really interested in let us do it so that it might get to our turn? Why change the winning team? A team is winning. Why change it? Why? Issa Hayatou must go because he was there when my father was a boy, when my father was a girl, and all sorts of things. Is that what we really want? And that's against our politics, the way we live. And let him go is there. But you're nobody look at, is he doing well? That is just coming. It's taking too long. I think we should get out of that mentality. If I has been doing well, which I think, and you confirm, I will go to Issa Hayatou if I had an opportunity. It's not because he's old or it's not because he's been there for 2 weeks. If new people you are bringing, are you sure they are not going to come and disrupt everything, or because you want new people? We should look at functionality based. That cannot be too long. It's too old. It's too deep. It's too that. Can do well. If he can do well, fine. This Ahmad we are there for. Who knows Ahmad? I've never heard something like that. But we are not saying he's a new person. He's a younger blood. Which blood is young and old blood? I beg you. Thank you very much.
All right. That's your opinion, Dr. Ukon. At a point in time, the same question will have been said of Issa Hayatou. Who is he? Because I'm sure at that time, people like Patrick Opomoleta were more popular.
Yes, I mean,
and they do a general FA at that time.
He wasn't even in football. He was an athlete.
So the same question would have been said. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Big Daddy.
Thank you.
Mr. General, guest, good morning. You see, that seat is not a hereditary seat like a seat. Let him move out. Let another person come. Let our boss are not yet born. They need to say so. My dear brother, I want to ask one question about guest. Please, definition of giant. Please tell me this morning. I want you to use the light English, not hide by one. Because Nigeria is the giant of Africa. They are nowhere to find in every world and compared to Africa. And we haven't hosted anything at all, my dear brother. I want you to tell me the meaning of that giant of Africa people have been saying. So, another thing is that why Africa and Nigeria, they are not talking about being in that seat. Everybody we are talking inside Hayatou, Egwuonwu, and so on and so forth. Why Chuku or Dele is not in that place? So please tell me this morning. Have a nice day.
All right, Emeka, I think he has partially answered every time. When it's time for him to respond, he will say something. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good
Morning.
Dele and Chienye.
Good morning.
Solomon.
Thank you.
This morning, I totally disagree with Dr. Incom. Totally disagree with him. The Yoruba will say, Abba, up to 30 years there. Let the man go. See, I want to ask your guys there. For me, I have not seen any improvement in African Nations Cup. As far as I'm concerned, I have not seen any improvement. Look at African Champions League. No improvement, nothing. You are still playing. Go and watch Europe Champions League. You will be satisfied. Look at African Champions League. It is only in Africa you will be seeing home advantage. Look at the Nations Cup, the last one. It's so shameful. The man is old enough. Let him go and sit down in his house. Then let's bring another person that has fresh idea. Thank you.
All right, let's add this call and then we'll move again away from the telephones. Check the messages. Hello.
Hello, we've got you. Good morning. Hello. Hello.
Hello, you are on. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, morning.
Morning,
Good morning.
hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes. Well, I want to propose support the proponent of President Chairman, the President President, Issa Hayatou. Yes, they be doing fine, but I'm not pleased. I'm not in support of him doing fine. So I am not in agreement with that because I'm convinced that he's doing well, quite all right. It goes beyond the issue of football in Africa and the whole world now, go beyond what we can see physically that those people are doing. I mean the people at the end of football governing body. I know there are a whole lot of policies going on within this circle that we are talking about this morning. I think it's not helping us as a nation. That is also detrimental to the progress of our football in Africa. That is not it. So whether it's doing fine or is not doing well. But he should leave. Let us have another. Let us have another idea. And if the idea is not working, let's have another opportunity to say it should also go because the idea is not working. That is number one. Lastly, I think I would advise the football boarding council in Africa and in the world at large to please put tenor in this position. For someone to stay for 8 years or more than that, I think it is the royal position. I think I'm not concerned to that. Let us be tenor so that there could be
Okay.
coming in and coming out.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Chienye, can we add the messages?
Sure, we can. Okay, we have this tweet from Mayor of God. More you talk of passion and money. Do you mean most of those in sports are there because of money? Please expatiate more on that. Then for the messages, we have this one from Babalola. He says Issa Hayatou has overstayed. He has to leave now for us to have a new look in CAF. Enough is enough. Then whatever achievements of Hayatou, enough is enough for him since 1988. Let someone else step in. Is he the only best in Africa? Can Nigeria not be CAF president too? In fact, at 74, he needs nobody to tell him to retire and be resting. Okay, he should go. That's from Ade. Then I think it's high time CAF reviewed its constitution and make that post just 2 terms. That's an observation or from Oluwa Mayokun. Then I disagree with Mr. Alabi, who is defending Issa Hayatou of not being unfair to Nigerians on examples cited by him. Okay, that is a goal wrongly disallowed against us with Cameroon in Okocha's case as best African that time, and then he turned down fraudulently and he kept quiet. Now saying because we have best Cameroon in his presence and our female team beating Cameroon in his presence too. He didn't favor us in any way because we won all those games cleanly but not fraudulently.
It's the same
That's
thing.
for
It's
my
the same argument that Cameroon also won cleanly without Issa
Without any
Hayatou's
problem.
influence. Yes.
Okay, enough is enough. Issa Hayatou should go. That's from MOK from Ayodo, who turned in that one. He sent in the same message again. Enough is enough. Issa Hayatou should go. Okay?
All right, good.
Okay, well, first and foremost, the NFF crisis, that long, first disagreeing with Pinnick and then doing a turnaround and all of that. I think the NFF issue shouldn't be new to us. We all know that Pinnick has been like on one side of the divide and other members of the NFF on the other side. A very good example was when Nigeria employed Sonny Ulise as the chief coach of the national team. So many members, executive members of the NFF said then that it was the decision of Pinnick. So we shouldn't be surprised that some of them don't agree with Pinnick on this issue. But again, that is gone. I don't think we should really bother ourselves about that. The minister wanted to know whether it was actually the prerogative of Pinnick as president of the NFF to go vote for somebody in the CAF election, and he found out that he has the prerogative. So he has led us. So that's not an issue. I think that's gone. For Nigerian referees, why don't we have them in CAF tournaments? This is an issue that's been on for years. It's been there for quite so many years. But I know in those good old days, Nigeria used to have great referees like Lano Sumba, Obafemi, and the rest of them. Okubuli and the rest of them. Why don't we have them now? This is a question that we can't exhaust that in one program. There are so many issues that are tied to that. But again, you can't rule out CAF politics too. You see a whole lot of francophone countries presenting their referees at a CAF tournament. But I think things are moving forward for Nigeria. In the recent, in the last 2-3 months, we've seen some Nigerian referees officiate CAF Champions League matches, young ones, 20-something, 24, 25. So I think there's some kind of improvement now in terms of Nigerian referees participating in African tournaments. Well, Dr. Nkom said, why change the winning team? Well, why not? Winning team, yes, if you have a winning team, we have a team that's been doing so well, and some people say, well, we don't want this team anymore. they also have a right to challenge him, to challenge the team and say the team should go. But just like we said, there's a process for making that team go, and you must just confront that process. If you don't confront the process, then the winning team will continue to be in office. Hayatou has been there for quite some time. It's not that Hayatou is so mythical that people have not done things to actually remove him from office. But the fact is that he's been able to carry those who are in CAF along, in terms of his programs and policies in such a way that they dare not face and look straight into his eyes. So I think it's purely that. Even in conventional policy, we have individuals like that can't just stand up to. So it's just as simple as that. But that's why I actually appreciate the courage of Ahmad and his team to actually challenge. This is not actually meaning that Ahmad will win next week's election. But I think the news about this event is that we have somebody who is now standing up to Hayatou. Whether he wins the election, or not, it's not the issue. Big Daddy also said that are we really giants of African football? We are giants of African football. In fact, we are giants of Africa in all human enterprises. We are, in terms of size, in terms of resources, in terms of everything you can actually mention, Nigeria is a giant. But again, if you want to say, is the giant sleeping, or the giant is actually, behaving true to type, fine. I think I agree with you. We are sleeping. But I think some things are going on too, in terms of the new measures that are going on in the NFF now, and those things are actually making us, come out again as a big African football nation. Now, why not Nigerians in CAF? Well, that's a question that I think you should also answer. Why not? We have so many Nigerians that are also eminently qualified to be CAF president, but if they are not coming out, then who should we blame? Solomon said Hayatou is saturated. Yes, I agree. Maybe it's saturated. You want to compare CAF Champions League with European Champions League, not the same money. But I earlier mentioned that we must give it to Hayatou. From $1.5 million, the prize money has gone to $4 million. And I think that's massive. So in terms of taking CAF Champions to the next level, maybe you want it expanded, like UEFA Champions League, to 4 groups and all of that. That's another issue entirely. If another government comes in, they could do that. But in terms of prize money, I think there has been a tremendous improvement in terms of what teams take home at the end of the tournament. Money and passion in sports. Somebody tweeted that money and passion. Yeah, for 2 reasons. You could be in sports for passion. You could be in sports for money. But if you're a professional, that you don't do any other thing, you're a footballer, you don't do any other business, then you're in football for money. Why do you have Nigerian players going to China now? Mikel Obi is in China, Ide is in China, who again? I think Igalo is in China. They're going there for money, not because of. These are players that are still quite young to play in Europe. So money, is there in sports. It's there for the asking, and that's why so many corporate bodies are pumping in money into the venture. So money and passion, they go together in sports. Somebody also suggested constitution review. I think that's quite apt. CAF should just review its constitution so that no one person will stay in office for as much as.
That's part of the campaign promise of Ahmad. He's saying 12 for maximum, and I think age 70 or so. He said once you are age 70, you can no longer hold the presidency, and then once you've been there for 3 consecutive years, which is 4/3 of 12 years, you can no longer. That's part of his own proposal too during this election. Okay, any other issue to try, or we go back to the telephone?
We'll go back to the telephone.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. We just take 2. Yes, morning. Takes 2. Check the Thank you, Wega.
Good morning, Biodun Alabi.
Good morning, Fatai.
Yes, second one, I like your voice. But my own question, I want you to expand how the voting go on. Just to explain for me further. Maybe you are going to vote for Nigeria, at the Confederation of African Football. Maybe in 56 countries.
Okay, who holds the voter card for Nigeria? Okay. Well, that's the interesting thing. He will. I will let him. But that's those who are saying sports Twitter of Phoenix. He will give you. Thank you for that. Let's take this one. Obviously, the last call. Let's add this one to it. Hello.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, my brother Biodun.
Good morning, sir.
God bless you. My name is Pastor Shola Matinde. I'm calling from Owu Kingdom. Now, I cannot just understand this noise about Issa Hayatou. As far as I'm concerned, this old man has sent African football a lot. I don't know why he seems to be a barrier for continuity. I cannot just understand. So my submission is that Issa Hayatou to be allowed to continue with the good job he has been doing since this year until when he is tired voluntarily. Thank you very much.
All right, then, thank you.
There's a question I want.
Okay, messages. Pastor Makede, you can either tweet that question, sorry, or send it via the SMS. Let's check out messages. Biodun.
Yeah, Fatai Adeboyega, who holds the voting card? That's Pinnick. He's the president of the federation.
So that's it. So whatever anybody says.
Yeah, he's the man that will vote for.
And he just won't vote for the Confederation.
If the voting rights were to be given to every African, I'm sure they will have voted that.
And that also takes me to those who were skeptical about a clean election rigging. From the way it is that possible? We know that there are going to be 54 votes.
But the truth is that that's difficult, even in conventional elections, except when they come out with evidence, politicians come out with evidence and say, oh, this malpractice was seen here and all of that. You can't actually establish whether a football election is rigged or has been rigged or not. I think what we can actually talk about is the influence of money.
I think that's where to reach.
Yeah, influence of money.
Not on the day.
Yeah, influence of money. I mean, people are likely to be motivated by that. It also happened during the last.
That's why we saw many of the FIFA this thing, brother. When you want to vote for
even
right.
Exactly. Even in FIFA, it even came down to as little as giving people wristwatches. That's
this one, 18 karat. That's little.
That's not a small wristwatch.
When you say as little, when you have 18 karat gold, pure gold, that's not a little wristwatch.
Okay, we have a message on tweet now. We have this from Yemi Da Vinci. I must really commend Biodun Alabi. When will he contest for NFA seat? Okay. What's his thoughts about the name of NFA and NFF?
I think we've settled that long ago. It's NFF.
It's NFF.
That's the international statute.
It's a standard.
Then we have this one from Kenny Additional. The problem in CAF is in respect of its presidency, and it's now a new thing. Issa Hayatou is a typical African man who loves power and wants to remain there in office. It's high time for him to vacate the position. That's from Kenny.
Will you say that is correct when you want to look at the likes of your Avalanche, even Step Blatter?
Yeah, Blatter.
What is the
Avalanche was in office since he got to FIFA 74.
Antonio Samaranch. Those people literally died while in the. So I don't think it's African. Okay, so when are you likely to put yourself
for now, Biodun is a civil servant. So, but why not? Yeah, Biodun has passion for football, for sports, and so maybe in future he could just.
The civil service did not say it. Only so you cannot participate in partisan.
But I think in some way too.
It's an administrative job.
Yeah, but in some way, I think in some way one has been involved in football for 16 years. I've been working in OGTV covering sports. So, and I think I know. The history of Ogun State.
You also want to work for Gateway.
Maybe I also have Gateway United for I think 3 years or something. So I do not need to be president, to be the chairman of FA to contribute my own quota to football development. I think in terms of being a sports journalist too, I've done my own bit.
All right, this is where we'll end it. That's a message from Biodun. Two things from there. First, you don't have to be on the seat or in the front before you give your own suggestion, contribute your own quota. You don't have to be seen before you serve your community. And of course, the other one, anytime you decide to contest, you will get our support.
Thank you, sir.
It's not too early and it's not late.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I must appreciate everybody who's been a part of it. We say big thank you to the production crew and all the telephones, those who use the telephone, the SMS, and our Twitter handle. Dele Ayodo is my name. saying, God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. God bless Rock City.
And I am Chienye Egwuonwu. Let's continue to do the right thing at the right time, always. Good morning.